The South African National Taxi Association again, who will be responsible for transporting essential workers. Thabisho Molelekwa is the spokesperson for Santaco. Mr. Molelekwa, thank you very much again for your time. Hope you can hear me this time around.
I can hear you, yes.
All right, perfect. Let's go ahead then. So I was asking you the question. You're saying that you're going to be using skeleton staff during the 21-day lockdown. Which association will you pick from, and who's responsible for actually picking that association?
Well, in actual fact, for now, we are still in a hazy situation where we do not really know what is expected from us. So basically what is happening is that as and when the demand arises, we will be able to respond to that, but obviously with precautionary measures, because this could also be a very deadly exercise. And this is why for those areas which are doing transportation, we are saying that must be done, provided that the necessary prevention measures have been taken.
Yeah, when you say that situation could be potentially deadly, are you referring to the virus itself being contracted by the operators and subsequently the users or passengers, or are you referring to a fight that might ensue as a result of which taxi association has been picked to actually transport essential workers?
I'm referring to the virus that may be transmitted unknowingly. We still expect associations countrywide to operate within their jurisdiction and not overlap as a result of the situation.
But I can tell you without flinching that it is going to cause consternation within the industry. These are people who fight almost daily because of routes. Isn't that going to be a potentially deadly situation in itself, picking which association is going to transport people?
No. We will not. Basically, what will happen where a transportation service is required, associations within that jurisdiction will be the one in charge of that. We will not have association moving into other areas which, by law, they are not authorized to do that.
Mr. Molelekwa, the other interesting element here is that you have taxi owners who still are paying monthly installments for their taxis. How is this going to affect them, or have they already approached financial institutions for payment holidays?
In fact, maybe I must just indicate that we are in a very precarious situation as the industry, particularly the leadership of the industry in South Africa, precisely because we have not really had an opportunity to speak to the minister to translate what the president said into practicalities. We hope that we'll be able to have audience with the minister to clearly explain and define how this operation must roll out. However, we are also aware that despite what banks have said, they have not necessarily been clear on whether this is completely applicable to the taxi industry. And this is why the president of Santaco is facilitating a meeting with the banks to say, we are not able to pay, or we will not be able to pay their monthly obligations as expected end of this month. And we therefore hope we'll be able to work together during these trying times to be able to exempt taxi operators for a period of at least 3 months until such time we're able to know how this thing will roll out.
All right, Mr. Molelekwa, very briefly for me, the Transport Minister will lay out his lockdown plans today. What areas of interest do you want clarified?
We want to know when the minister, in line with what the president said, the issues around those drivers, those taxis that will not be operating, what form of compensation they will get, government to assist us to ensure that that their vehicles are not repossessed possibly, and also to be able to make us understand what will be happening in the next 6 months, because beyond 21 days, there are operations that must happen, there are consequences that must be faced and managed.
All right, Thabisho Molelekwa speaks for the organization or taxi body Santaco to this.